They thought she was weak. A quiet single mother, running a small farm, struggling just to survive. But when a group of bullies targeted her home, burning her fences, harassing her child, and laughing at her helplessness, they had no idea who she used to be. One wrong move was all it took to awaken a side of her past they could never have imagined. Because this mother wasn't just a farmer, she was a former Green Beret sniper. And once her patience ran out, every one of them realized, far too late, that they had chosen the wrong woman to mess with. The farm sat on the edge of town, surrounded by fields of wheat that swayed gently in the summer wind. For years, Claire Dawson had worked this land alone after her husband passed in a tragic accident. She was quiet, reserved, always keeping to herself. And most people in town thought of her as nothing more than the widow with a kid. Her son, Ethan, was 10 years old. Bright, full of questions, and the light of her world. Claire worked long hours to keep food on the table, repairing fences, tending crops, and taking care of animals. Life was hard, but simple, until the bullies came. A group of young men, spoiled kids of wealthy landowners, saw Claire as an easy target. They mocked her, called her names, and bragged in town about how they'd take over her land. At first, they just taunted her at the market, but then the harassment grew darker. One night, Claire awoke to the sound of footsteps. Her fences were cut. Her barn was spray painted with vile words. And worst of all, Ethan came running to her in tears, saying someone had thrown a rock through his window while he was sleeping. The next morning, the bullies stood at the edge of her farm, laughing. "This land doesn't belong to you anymore, widow." One of them sneered. "Sell it, or we'll make your life hell." Claire's hands trembled as she held Ethan close. Every part of her wanted to stay quiet, stay invisible, like she had for years. But something inside her was stirring. Something she had buried long ago. Because Claire wasn't always just a farmer. Before she was a mother, before the farm, she had served her country as a Green Beret sniper. She had faced war zones, survived impossible missions, and carried scars no one could see. She had walked away from that life, vowing never to touch a rifle again. But watching her son cry, watching those bullies laugh at her pain, she knew the time for silence was over. That night, Claire pulled a dusty wooden trunk from under her bed. Inside lay her old uniform patches, a field knife, and a long black rifle case. Her hands shook as she opened it, revealing her sniper rifle, cold, precise, deadly. She whispered to herself, "You wanted a fight. You got one." The bullies thought she was powerless. Soon, they would learn just how wrong they were. The next day, the bullies returned. This time, they came with trucks and chains, ready to tear down her barn. They laughed, loud and careless, confident that no one could stop them. But Claire was ready. From the hayloft, hidden in shadows, she watched through her rifle scope. Every move they made was calculated, every weakness mapped out in her mind. She wasn't just defending her farm. She was protecting her child, her family, her life. One of the bullies tried to cut her barn door with a crowbar. A single warning shot cracked through the silence, splintering the wood inches from his hand. He froze, pale as a ghost. Her voice rang out, calm but fierce. "Next one doesn't miss. Step away from my land." The laughter died instantly. The boys looked at each other, suddenly unsure. But one, the leader, tried to act tough. "You don't scare us, widow. You think you can fight us alone?" Claire's eyes narrowed. She fired again. This time shattering the side mirror of his truck. The echo of the shot rolled across the fields like thunder. "Try me," she said. Fear crept into their faces. They realized they weren't up against a helpless farmer. She moved with precision, every shot intentional, every stance unshakable. The confidence of a soldier radiated in her posture. Finally, one by one, they dropped their chains, their weapons, their bravado. The leader stammered, Who are you?" The Claire stepped out of the barn, rifle slung across her shoulder, her eyes cold and unflinching. "I'm Ethan's mother. And I used to be a Green Beret sniper. Touch my farm again, and you'll regret it." The bullies backed away, their arrogance shattered, their pride broken. They stumbled into their trucks and drove off, defeated, humiliated, terrified. Ethan ran into his mother's arms, tears in his eyes. "Mom, I thought they were going to hurt us." Claire knelt, pulling him close. "Not while I'm here. You're safe. Always." That night, under the stars, Claire sat quietly on the porch, her rifle by her side. She knew the war within her would never fully go away. But she also knew she had made the right choice. She wasn't just a survivor. She was a protector, a fighter, a mother who would do anything for her child. And the bullies. They would never forget the day they crossed paths with the quiet single mother, who turned out to be a legendary sniper. Closing message: never mistake silence for weakness. Some of the strongest warriors walk among us quietly, carrying battles you'll never see. And when it comes to protecting family, there is no force stronger than a mother's love.